The ladder leaders, Auckland FC, arrive in Newcastle for the first time in club history, looking to move a step closer to the A-League Premiership in their inaugural season. But it will be a challenging task against a Jets side soaring off the back of 3 consecutive wins for the first time in 7 years. Good afternoon and welcome to McDonald Jones Stadium here on Awabakal country as the Jets host Auckland FC. And it is first responders round here at McDonald Jones Stadium. And you can see Will Dobson presenting a jersey to Jets women's team, Dr. Claudia Lawson and Dr. Kelly Taylor, who were in the crowd in that match against Melbourne Victory where fan Aaron Bray suffered a cardiac arrest and they saved his life. And they mean a lot to this club and this team, but especially to Aaron Bray, who's going to be bringing out the ball for this all-important match day 22 clash between the Jets and Auckland FC. The Jets looking to win 4 consecutive matches since the days of Joel and Adam Griffiths, the likes of Durante Mishalik, Ante Kovic, led by Jade North. 2008, that championship winning season, was the last time they won 4 straight in the A-League. Auckland, though, they're on a 7-match undefeated run. They're looking to make it 8 unbeaten for the first time in club history. And here is Aaron Bray, the Jets fan who suffered a cardiac arrest late in the Jets' 3-0 win over Melbourne Victory here at McDonald Jones Stadium last month, presenting the match ball. So for the Jets team news, Rob Stanton names an unchanged starting side for the 3rd match in a row. That includes Clayton Taylor, who scored in his last 3, while Kota Mizunuma scored his first A-League goal against Brisbane. He's got 3 assists in his last 4 matches. Long-term absentees, Ingham and Shushnia, could make their return from pec and ankle injuries. There's Aaron Bray presenting the match ball to our referee for this afternoon, Nathan Shakespeare. Hiroki Sakai and Costa Grozos, the respective captains. And Clayton Taylor, goals in his last 3. The Young Player of the Year nominee for January and February in the A-League. Certainly going to be a player up there in lights at the awards at the back end of the season. Auckland FC have just the 1 change from their pulsating 4-4 draw with the Reds. Max Mata is out with a calf injury, so it's Jesse Randall who is in for his 4th start of the season. Good news on the injury front for the Black Knights is Dan Hall made his return this weekend for the Auckland reserves. He's expected to be available for the first team in the coming weeks.
Only moments away, the teams are setting the stage. 2 of the informed teams.
Logan Rogerson is expected to be named in Darren Baisley's all-white side on Tuesday. 4 goals in his last 2 in this competition. Rob Stanton, what a record he has of late. Wins in his last 3. Nominated for the A-League Coach of the Month award for January and February, but he was pipped by the man he assisted for 5 years at Sydney FC and Steve Corica, who won it for the 4th time this season. And he wishes Rob Stanton the best of luck. Nathan Shakespeare taking charge of his 6th A-League men's match. First involving the Jets, he took charge of Auckland's defeat in Perth back in January. Daniel Elder, the VAR, assisted by Brad Wright. So we're ready to go here in Newcastle. The final match in round 22. And it's Newcastle hunting 4 straight A-League wins for the first time in 17 years as the ladder leaders look to put one hand on the A-League Premiership. And Andy Harper, it's been a while since the Newcastle Jets have had this kind of buzz around them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a big day for Newcastle, but it's already been a big day for Newcastle. Then to see Aaron Bray in person at a Jets game after his life was nearly extinguished is fabulous. A nice touch to have him present the match ball. I'd have liked the Newcastle players to have gotten around Aaron at that ceremonial point of the afternoon as well, just to highlight the significance of what took place here and has happened since. Now we can get on with the football, which plays second fiddle, in my opinion, to his great survival story.
And the Jets have offered 2 free tickets to all first responders, so police officers, firefighters, SES responders and ambulance officers for this match. And you can see top left of screen, these two sides are in wonderful form coming into this clash. Newcastle have won their last 3. Auckland undefeated in 7 matches, and that equals their start to the season, where they went on that 7-match undefeated run.
And Jets fans tantalised by the run of form and that it keeps their finals chances alive, which I think will either stay alive or be distinguished this week. They've got a couple of games in hand, but by this time next week, that extra game plus the completion of today will mean that ledger is squared. And if they win these 2 games this week to square the game's ledger, that still puts them 4 points off 6+. They must win both these games to maintain a hope of the finals, in my opinion.
And there have been moments for Newcastle in the 7 years since making the grand final, as Wilmering's delivery just a little overcooked. Yeah, there have been glimmers under Carl Robinson and even Arthur Pappas as well. You could say there was even a good undefeated run against Craig Deans, but it never has quite eventuated in them playing finals football. And you just wonder this season, is it going to be different? Or is it false hope? We will find out in the next week. Guillermo Mai with a strike on that left boot, coming off a double last week against the Reds. From this kind of range, he scored his first.
Well, they give Guillermo Mai too much space in and around the penalty area, and what hope they have for the finals will extinguish quickly. The guy's season has grown brilliantly.
Taylor looking it up to Wilmering. You speak about the quality of my halves, the quality of this Auckland side, but Newcastle have got to take a lot of confidence out of victories against Melbourne victory to start the 3-match winning run, and then Adelaide, 2 sides entrenched in that top 6. But now they get the cream of the crop here this afternoon.
Yeah, well, the Jets have put themselves in a position where they can still cause some trouble and realise their own dreams, and they're to be congratulated for that. A couple of big scalps secured in this run, but Auckland do take things up a notch as far as an opponent is concerned. And with Lockie Rose and Mitsunuma starting the match, which is great for the fans, but they do lose that power off the bench, game-changing off the bench from both of them, who've been fantastic. Newcastle are a better team with them both playing. And let's hope, for the sake of the Jets, that they can prove that over the course of the 90 minutes.
Rosas. He's now overhit that pass, but Mizunuma with the thumbs up. What an impact he's had on this Newcastle Jets side, up against fellow Japanese international in Hiroki Sakai. 2 players that have had such a significant impact on the competition this year. Mizunuma over the last couple of months and Sakai since the beginning of the season. But the great news for Auckland fans is that he will be in the A-League for at least another season, re-signing for next year, back in February. Just speaking to Steve Corica, he says absolutely outstanding leader, person, footballer as well, but just the work he does with his teammates, second to none. You can understand why they are sitting in first place on the table. Taylor urged to get there in the nick of time. Rosa showing some urgency. Unfortunately for the Jets, the pass didn't hit its intended target.
And then on this moment here, won by Costa Grozos, the ball falls to Aquilina. Great transition moment for Newcastle. Aquilina had a brain explosion. Really horrible pass to destroy a possible counter-attack.
Randall now into the side for Mata. The ball has crossed the byline. So big opportunity for young Jesse Randall. Scored his first A-League men's goal in the February derby against Wellington. Mata, I'm told by Steve Corica, will miss 2 weeks with that calf injury.
Well, the way Auckland are going under Stevie Corica, you don't want to get injured because guys come in, the transitions are seamless, and hitherto rusted on first 11 players have to wait their turn again. Look at Vestrada. Completely pivotal in establishing the foundation for this outstanding inaugural season for Auckland, and now can't get back in the team.
Yeah, yellow card accumulation ruled him out, and he's been sitting on the bench ever since.
And you know, Stevie Corica has fine-tuned this chemistry so that no player is really irreplaceable. Because when they started this comp and they got on that winning run and set sail for what I think is probably going to be a league win, Estrada was the hammer, the nails and the toolbox that was just so instrumental in that.
Gallegos. And now Smith, Tommy Smith, who brought up professional match number 550 last week. A lot of running in those legs for the New Zealand international. De Vries. His header picked off by Timmins. And you just sense this is really going to be a tight arm wrestle based on the fact of what we saw back in round 6. 80 minutes of a lot of defensive pressure from both sides. Two coaches that know each other well, obviously. Here's Mizunuma. Spills for Aquilina. Mizunuma looking to recycle things and go again here for Newcastle. You just think when two coaches know each other so well. 5 years Rob Stanton worked under Steve Corica. Here's a delivery in behind Rose. Couldn't get it to drop. What a chance that was for Newcastle against the best defence in the competition.
And one of the best defenders in the competition. Pinocchio aware of Lockie Rose, because Lockie Rose's movement does that. It unnerves central defenders. And the misread from the defender wasn't punished by the finish of Rose. Just not deft enough with the touch. What a great chance that was for the Jets.
And that's going to be the big question today. Can can Newcastle take their chances when they are offered up? Because they're not going to get many of them. We know Auckland conceded 4 last week against Adelaide, but those kind of lapses have been few and far between for a team that's conceded just 17 times in 18 matches this season, less than a goal a game. Good pressure though from Eli Adams. Some spark here for the Jets. Bayliss leaves it short. But again, almost won back by Mizunuma. Jesse Randall with a chance to stretch his legs and uses De Vries. And shut down. The question is asked. It will be a corner for Auckland.
A good recovery from Aquilina there. Nice run from De Vries. Has been great. Talk about another player growing into the season. His left foot has been superb. And Aquilina, I'd say, aware of that. Doubled the effort to make sure he couldn't get the delivery into the penalty area. The ball through. Aquilina hits the afterburners, and with a full stretch interception, very necessary too.
So how's this set piece from Auckland? It's dropping into the near post, and what a chance that is for Peinecker.
That is way too free a header. Virtually unchallenged. There's a great chance for Auckland.
They're a very tall, strong, physical team and so dangerous at set pieces. But Eli Adams, clean pair of heels. Oh, what a strike! That is an Eli Adams special. We've seen him produce it before in the A-League. There's one against the best defence in the competition, and they were not stopping it.
Well, Moreno losing possession, and Gallegos couldn't foot it with Eli Adams on the Harvey Norman replay. And he's a fine athlete, and when he gets that stride going, very, very difficult for mere mortals to keep up with him. And when he decides to combine that with the left boot, it's just sit back and watch. Oh, it's a fizzing effort. Brilliant to the second post. Not even the great Alex Paulson can stop that one. A really, really good goal from Eli Adams. And a stinger for the Jets.
Well, he's been given an opportunity this season by Rob Stanton after spits and spurts at victory in Brisbane. We've seen his quality, but it's been showcased this season. And now the Jets lead Auckland. And the statistics will tell you that this season, when Auckland have conceded first, they haven't come back and won. 2 losses and a draw against Melbourne City. Statistics, of course, are there to be broken, but it's important to note in the early stages of this one. How is the confidence now of this young team? Wilmering with a little dink over the top. Now Timmins. And Mai with a slip. Taylor able to slip it through for Wilmering, cuts it back for Rose. Rose turns, Adams with a chance. Newcastle are piling on the pressure here.
Well, they've broken the field up really nicely, the Jets, and they've done it with forward-thinking play and great energy. Auckland difficult to penetrate when they're unable to get set. But like any team, when there's space to be utilised by an attacking team and they choose to take it, really difficult to cover. And what a chance that was for Newcastle to skip too clear. The superb energy from the home team.
just wondering, Harps, Auckland, we've spoken about their physicality, their intensity. What about their speed? Is it being exploited here by the likes of Lockie Rose, Eli Adams?
Well, certainly Eli Adams, when we saw the goal, but anyone's going to be exposed by his speed because he's got plenty of it.
But that first chance earlier, it was a little sign, wasn't it? That chance that Lockie Rose put over the top. Just something that Auckland have really got to think about here.
Well, you listen to Stevie Corica post-match games recently, celebrating wins or heroic comebacks, and he acknowledges, identifies and appreciates when his team wins one-on-one duels and they're first to the second ball, and that's been their foundation. I think that's where the Jets have shaken them up early here. And then, of course, with that space to which I have just referred, Eli Adams doesn't need a second invitation. Yep. And he's got the speed to utilise it. So too, Lockie Rose. And here's more space for them to puncture, and they've done it very, very well.
Clayton Taylor gliding through. The delivery was poor. It spills here for Bayliss. He may get it on the second attempt. Calmly to Taylor. Corner on the way here for Newcastle.
And again, what a great example of how this opening 15 minutes has given Jets the ascendancy, or better say they've earned it. There's a couple of challenges in there. Here's the Bayliss getting away, nice pass. But this is an opportunity blown by Taylor. He didn't really. I don't know what sort of pass that is, but Eli Adams is free. That would have been a good chance for two. But as the ball bounces up, who wins it? Newcastle. And they go again. And it's at that moment this season so far, by and large, Auckland have been winning.
Here's Anuma's set piece. It is violently whipped in. Bayliss finding Grozos. Adams floating it, looking for Natta. And it's going to be another corner here for the Jets.
Auckland will do very well just to ride out this storm without further damage. The game and the run from Newcastle presented the top of the table challenge as one full of opportunity, and they are full of that sense in the opening 20-odd minutes here in Newcastle.
So here's Anuma. It's it deep. Handball penalty, Newcastle. Well, he didn't know much about it. Pinecker, he was facing the other direction, but Nathan Shakespeare had no doubt.
Well, the ball swung deep, and referee Shakespeare decides that this early phase of the game becomes a tragedy for Auckland. I mean, that sort of sums up where Auckland are at the moment. They've been forced into this position. They haven't been able to cope with the Jets' onslaught.
So, the captain, who scored a penalty in round 4 against Western Sydney, and again in round 18 against Melbourne Victory. One against Western Sydney, they were down 3-0 at that point. Not much pressure on that moment, but the Victory one, he had to wait for 20 minutes. Now, he stares down at Alex Paulson. Nathan Shakespeare just reminding him to stay on his line. Big moment for Newcastle. Huge as well for Auckland at this early juncture. And it's Paulson who saves. Well, there's a reason why he's one of the best goalkeepers in this competition.
Well, they're just checking, I think, to see that the goalkeeper didn't move off the line, which was the first whistle. The second is, here we go, all good.
And Mizanuma's delivery towards that near post. Spills out for Taylor. And Auckland breathe a massive sigh of relief, I should say. You just wonder what kind of impact that could have on the Newcastle momentum. Rogerson finding Randall. Jesse Randall! Oh! Hang on a second, it's been ruled out. So Newcastle have a penalty saved at one end. Randall has a delightfully curled strike ruled out at the other.
Ruled out so far. VAR will be checking. How close? It's a great run forward to carry the ball into the danger zone. And the new interpretation of the offside rule not in place yet. I think that one is going to be rubbed out. Well, great save from Paulson, poor penalty from Grosos. And a reprieve from Newcastle, whose lead was half a yard from being extinguished. It's a wonderful finish.
When I look up at the clock, 21 minutes have just flown by. What a finish we've got here to round 22 of the A-League men. Newcastle have given it away again here to Randall. It's a corner. Oh, hang on, it's a goal kick, so it's come back out off the young Kiwi striker.
And all the action, goal action, by and large, has come in transition off errors in possession or very tigerish defending. And Auckland forced the error from Aquilina, who was good enough to cover his tracks. Well, the opening 20 minutes has flown. It's been a fantastic game to watch. You have to give all the credit for that to Newcastle. They've made the game of this. They've pinned their ears back and had a red-hot go at the league leaders, Auckland, who've buckled. But perhaps that penalty save helps them stabilise. See if they can get going on a more familiar trajectory, Auckland.
Natter drives it through towards Lockie Rose, and out comes Paulson. There is a bit of loose turf around this pitch at McDonald Jones Stadium. You can see turf flying up. Maybe some kind of concern for the players. It's not like there's been a whole lot of rain in Newcastle, not as much as what was predicted. Timmins sending it Mizanuma's way, but the breeze and the run of the pitch taking it over the goal line. And this is the turf. I was having a chat to Rob Stanton about this. He was concerned about this in the Brisbane game, and he blamed the loose pitch on Ben Gibson's ankle injury. So that there is some concern around the pitch and turf flying up. You can see a lot there on that shot.
It's almost you can set your calendar or your clock to question marks over the Newcastle playing surface, relaying turf for this, that or the other. It's not a new story, as frustrating as it may be, if Rob Stanton's right.
Well, that's the issue. Pitches in all states basically are used for other sports, but also events as well, which cause massive damage to the playing surface.
And I've never seen one of those big utes or a motorbike have to get their anterior cruciate ligament fixed.
Bit of a lazy pass from Bayliss, just inviting Sakai to make a forward run, and Auckland just able to generate a little bit of their own counter thrust here since the penalty save from Paulson. And it's fascinating, isn't it? Newcastle had a 2-0 lead potentially sitting there for them. Penalty saved, and the psychology around Newcastle, saying that potential of a 2-0 lead slip. Fascinated to get into their heads right now, because they were imperious for the first 17 or so. Sensing that they're a little off the boil since that moment, Harps? Just a couple of little errors creeping in.
That's all it's taken. It's all it's taken for Auckland to lift their output.
Randall hanging it up in the path of Rogerson. Spills for the captain, Sakai. His delivery off balance. He's a little heavy. De Vries, another decent left-footed delivery. Gallegos and De Vries. Now is this left foot again? It is pinpoint and caused some problems for Noah James. He had to smother it at the near post.
And here's the game swinging right in front of our eyes. This whole attack finishing up with this De Vries cross. Angling into the near post, a difficult one for James to beat away.
Look at the pressure they are putting on Noah James. We saw what happened to Ethan Cox. He was basically a spectator as Logan Rogers had headed it into his goal last week. Moreno now. By Taylor, Aquilina, Rose, Newcastle with some quick movement, and it's Eli Adams stretching out again. Feeds it through rather heavily to Rose, who has to track it down and find Timmins, and he took a heavy touch, and it all went up in smoke for the Jets.
Yeah, great chance for Newcastle again. But again, as a reflection of how the game has changed. This is a much more earnest recovery from Auckland. Look at the white shirts swamping back. That pass is probably a little strong from Eli Adams, but then there's a flood of white shirts. Timmins' touch not good enough. And they've certainly upped their game. Jets got the start with a very good opening, 16, 17 minutes. The penalty to go 2 up, which is saved by Paulson, and since then it's been Auckland who've been winning their battles again. It's the Jets who've stopped chasing. Certainly by comparison with the opening to the game, and it's allowed Auckland back into it. Auckland, actually better said, have worked their way back into it.
Taylor just gets legged. Sakai pleads his innocence.
Apart from the foul, that's a reasonable ask from Mark Natter with the pass he hit there from Taylor to do something with it. A bit lucky there. The Jets. Game set up really nicely.
Taylor just harassed almost on the same blade of grass. Wins another foul, this time from former Johnny Warren medalist in Brimmer. Rose is put under serious pressure, and he gets the whistle from the referee. And Mai finishes it off, but wow, he could count himself a little lucky, the Jets captain.
Well, even though they're giving away fouls, I think they're making the Jets start to think twice now. Another sticky one Bayliss managed to get himself out of.
Here's Anuma. Slide Adams in behind. Here's Anuma, his industry just earns back possession for the Jets. That's the kind of energy that he brings to the contest. It's been a huge advantage for Newcastle. With this pressure from Auckland, it's not going away. Timmins rides it out there.
Yeah, very well done from Timmins. That was a big one. That was a big play from Timmins.
After towards Rose. Wanaka came through and earned it back for Auckland. It is a fascinating duel, this. The physicality of Auckland and the pace of Newcastle's front line. Paulina is just grabbing at a right leg here. He's been in wonderful form lately. He doesn't need an injury at this moment. Rob Stanton has been most impressed with his work in the back line. Part of that back three alongside Grozos and Natta. Flicked away by Grozos. Rose goes to ground and he's given away the free kick. Referee saying there was nothing doing there and he's just handled the ball.
Geez, wasn't that the same from Rocky Sakai then? There's a little one in the back, but not enough. I can see why the refs said play on. But look, Jake Bream has taken a quick free kick, which is how I interpret it, and Hiroki Sakai's picked the ball up. Or did the ref tell him to come back and restart it? I wouldn't have thought so.
Sense a consequential period here before halftime in the context of this match. It's just hanging in the balance. Auckland are trying to claw back this goal.
Well, they've clawed back control of the game. Can they get the goal to reward their efforts? Speaking of, Aquilina again. It's been a real feature at him at right fullback.
Sending Rose on the chase. You can see Auckland really have come back into it in the last 15 or so. Randall had that goal ruled out for offside. Missed it. Eli Adams putting Newcastle ahead. Costa Grozos had a penalty saved, and then a moment later Randall had that goal ruled out for offside. But Auckland have really forced their way back into this contest without hitting the scoreboard as of yet. And Natta, here's the pressure again. Sakai coming through on this occasion, but there is some space here because he's now out of position, the captain, and Clayton Taylor looking to exploit it. Linking with Rose. Chiming in is Timmins, and Timmins is shooting.
That's a great opportunity. Again, Lockie Rose in behind. Tommy Smith, and then the support arrives as they square the attack. Jink past Moreno. And he knows Timmins. It's a rare opportunity. Ball sitting nicely. Centre of the goal, edge of the penalty area.
Hasn't scored for Newcastle. Made 2022 his last goal in the A-League men's. Look at that XG. Dominated by Newcastle, but of course, one of those due to the penalty was not converted by Grozos, so that really exaggerates the XG a little. Guillermo Mai away from Eli Adams. Sakai, decent delivery, and there is the equaliser. This time, Jesse Randall does get his goal. And there is a collision between him and Noah James, but it is the youngster replacing Max Mutter in the starting side. He has come up trumps.
Well, too much time again for Guillermo Mai to turn and carry the ball into the danger zone. No one wanted to clean him up. No one wanted to chase him. No one wanted to clean up possession. And on the Harvey Norman replay, getting blitzed on the XG, but that doesn't win you games. Finishing your chances does. And Randall onside this time. Noah James not effectively enough off his line. No central defenders protecting the edge of the 6-yard box, and Auckland get the goal that the last 10 or 15 minutes of play says they deserve. Rocky Sakai measuring it beautifully. And no one's tracking Randall in to the goal scoring position, and he duly obliges.
So both players just getting treated here for potential concussions. So I'm sure they're going through the protocols. But Randall, he's got 2 goals in his last 3. Scored in the derby against Wellington. Came off the bench last week against the Reds, and then starts here with Max Mutter out with that calf injury picked up last week.
Oh, it's Guillermo Mai spreading the ball. A very good Uruguayan to the great Japanese player. Aquilina, number 39, asking questions. It may have been him just dropping a little bit off the line that kept players onside. Let's hope Randall, who's been very industrious, 1 goal disallowed, very good finish, and that's a strong header. He's okay.
Randall, a player that spent some time in the US, played some college football with Northern Kentucky and also with Charleston in the USL Championship.
One of the first observations we made was Newcastle will be in trouble if they let Guillermo Mai run here. Oh, look how deep Aquilina has dropped there. Breakdown in communication. Good finish. Team before self. Although there is the glory of the goal for Randall.
So Noah James has given the thumbs up. Randall just getting a swig of electrolyte, and then he'll be ready to go. So the Black Knights, after conceding the early goal, they have fought their way back into this contest, and they have breached Noah James's goal. So it's 1-1 as we move towards half-time at McDonald Jones Stadium. So there will be a little bit of additional time you would expect after that stoppage. And where does the pendulum swing now after that Auckland FC equaliser? It's been they who have had the momentum probably for the last 20 minutes. Sakai. Hodgson giving chase, but Wilmering gets there. Hodgson able to nick it back. So the league leaders now really stamping their authority on this match. Can they find themselves a goal to make it 2-1 before half-time?
Well, they've certainly rediscovered their own formula. They didn't come out and start the game being the Auckland that's leading the comp. And Newcastle forced the issue and got the reward. How crucial the penalty save from Paulson. You could almost bookmark that moment that's changed the swing of the game, which has been Auckland's sense, and they're back to their formula, which is uber aggression right across the field, ball winning, forcing errors, and then feeding their great talents, in particular Guillermo Mai, and even on the equaliser. I wish to labour the point, but the Jets had no appetite to try and close him down and stop him.
Clayton Taylor trying to respond for Newcastle, just dwelled a little. He will get the backup prize of a corner, but he was just a little sluggish. He looked as though he was in two minds, and it broke down. So Mizanuma's coming across to take this corner, which you can see by the breeze is going to add a little more to that right-footed in-swing. Auckland have got some tall timber and strong bodies in the box. Rose had a lash at it. He's now gone down, Lockie Rose. Back to his feet though. Sliding it through to Mai. Randall just fluffed his lines. And now it's Timmins struggling to find an option initially. Eli Adams has it taken off his toes. Excellent work by De Vries. Randall for Moreno. And Noah James comes out on the first attempt, didn't get it. Had to on the second.
A tight thing, really. Randall put a little too much on that pass, but it was a nice angle. James does well. Moreno's cries for a penalty decision falling on deaf ears. Over to Wilmering. New patch of grass. Bayless, he decides to shoot straight into Rose and Smith. And then Paulson away for the moment for Auckland. It's coming back though. Adams did well to get up and win the header. Was there anything more in that contest? Was there a stray elbow? Looked to be the head of Ando Pinecker, who touched on the physicality of Auckland. I know they're in a contest, Newcastle here. And there's Aaron Bray in the stands watching his side, Newcastle. It's just wonderful to see him back at a Newcastle Jets match after he suffered a cardiac arrest late on in that 3-0 win over Melbourne Victory back in February. And Newcastle celebrating first responders round here
at McDonald Jones Stadium this afternoon.
Reportedly, when he was revived and came to, Aaron, the first thing he said was, "What's the score?" Now that's a football fan. It's just, there he is. Good on you, mate. Champion. And the people who actually made sure he's here today.
Yeah, the Jets women's team, Dr. Claudia Lawson and Dr. Kelly Taylor was in the crowd that day. They were presented with jerseys before the match. So there have been a fair few stoppages in this first half, so you expect we're probably going to go beyond the 4 additional minutes of added time. It's been a little stop-start in the last 15 or so. Brimmer tried to measure that pass around to Moreno. You just sense at this moment Newcastle almost want to get to the Sheds halves because they just seem to have lost their way. And obviously Auckland have lifted, and we touched on that penalty save as a pivotal point in this first half, and the psychology swing for both of these two sides off the back of it.
Yeah, well, this is not a problem peculiar only to the Jets. The league tables suggest that when Auckland do their thing, they're too good for everyone else so far. And they didn't do their thing to open the game, and the Jets forced the advantage, did ever so well. Great goal from Eli Adams. But Auckland then have rediscovered their mojo, and there have been a couple of moments for the Jets since to re-establish a lead, but basically it's Auckland back to their domineering, gnarly, tough to deal with best, with sprinklings of really good play around that. But the Jets still in it for now.
Well, Bayliss and Timmins were both just a little flat-footed there. Allows this opportunity presented for Moreno, and he drags it wide.
That was a really good chase from Timmins, because the man leading the charge was Kazuma Mai. And perhaps having been warned, if they needed it, from the equaliser, Timmins wasn't allowing the Uruguayan to bear down on the Jets penalty area unattended. It was a very important, he's done a couple of really important defensive things, Timmins, so far, and that was certainly one of them.
Well, it's a contest which is beautifully poised, heading towards halftime. The Newcastle side looking for 4 consecutive A-League wins for the first time since 2008. Auckland looking to put one hand on the A-League Men's Premiership. Brimmer able to find De Vries. Mizunuma, and well contained in this first half by Auckland. So half-time at McDonald Jones Stadium. Eli Adams putting Newcastle ahead with an outstanding strike from the edge of the box, but it was Jesse Randall, another young gun, replacing the injured Max Mata, who equalised It was Alex Paulson's penalty save, which the match hinged on in the first half. It turned the momentum for his side. And at half-time, it is the Newcastle Jets 1, Auckland FC 1. So the half-time show is coming up right after the break.
Caceres. And the ball over the top, and Klimala's got there. Big chance here. Patrick Klimala fires Sydney FC in front. Centre, sprinting through. Here's Patrick Klimala going to have a go here. Oh, it's a great finish. What a goal by Patrick Klimala. A double for the pole. And Sydney have doubled their money.
So Sydney FC taking on Jeonbuk. That's on Thursday night on 10 Play. You do not want to miss the drama of the AFC Champions League 2, especially after their potential opponents. Sanfrecce Hiroshima's 6-1 win over Lion City Sailors has been overturned, and the Singaporean side gets a 3-0 win. More on that online. You can check out the fallout from that. But here in Newcastle, it is 1-1 between the Jets and Auckland FC, and Andy Harper on the Harvey Norman highlights. We'll see it was the Newcastle Jets who started the better of the sides.
Yeah, brilliant from the Jets. They created space to attack by winning duels and getting first to the second ball, and What a stunning effort that is from Eli Adams to separate the teams. Just electric. This is the summary of the opening exchanges. There was great desperation from Newcastle in midfield to win the ball, and with the space then available because of the disruption, Eli Adams. That's just an amazing hit. Anyone would be proud of that. The Jets fans certainly loved it. Then, of course, having had a couple of other chances and failing to go 2 up, the best of them all came from the penalty spot. Pineacre with the handball, completely indicative of how dishevelled Auckland's start to the game was. And Paulson good from the spot. Costa Grossos regrettably can't make it 2, and the game changes at that point. Now look at the space that's afforded to probably the most dangerous player in the comp at the moment, Guillermo Mai. And then Hiroki Sakai drops one on the spot. Randall untracked, central defence. For Newcastle, not into position. And Noah James a little slow off the line, and it scores level at that point. Beautiful ball, brave header from Randall.
And you just sense that's where Newcastle lack. Obviously Noah James has misread it, but an Alex Schuschnau who's on the bench this afternoon, coming back from that ankle injury, that tall, experienced centre-back. Here are the stats from the first halves. Anything that stands out? The XG probably doesn't really give you an indication of this match, does it?
No, as you've said, the penalty award sort of ratchets up the expected goals. Probably Auckland a little bit low on expected goals, so their dominance from the 20-odd minute whenever that penalty was saved hasn't been reflected in really good chances to score, but they took the one that came their way. One was disallowed too, we should acknowledge, and Auckland will be hard to see off from here.
Harps, Newcastle's start to the game most impressive. What do you put it down to, and what impressed you most about their output in the first 20 minutes?
Well, I just think it's the desperation. It's an easy thing to identify, but Auckland, to some significant part, have built their successful campaign so far on winning the duels, picking up the second balls, and this sort of work from Thomas Aquilina down the right-hand side defensively showed, exemplified where the Jets were at to start the match. Here's a great recovery again from him. Bit fortunate in the end, but still managed to keep his wits and hook the ball for a goal kick. And then early on, this is culminating in the goal, which we've seen before. And Auckland weren't losing these duels. They haven't en masse all season. But to start this match, Newcastle had the better of all of them, and Eli Adams then with the finishing touch to give them the lead.
And that was Newcastle leading 1-0 after that really strong start to the game. But as we know, Harps, the Black Knights are the pinnacle of this competition for a reason, and they just clawed their way back into the match.
Yeah, well, the goal and the penalty didn't really help Newcastle in the end for obvious reasons. But look, there's no commitment there from Itsunuma to get the ball. These are the signs that Auckland are starting to win the day. No pressure on the ball. The Jets are dropping off. The challenges, the duels are being won by Auckland. And here's the corner as it was to come out with the ball in from De Vries. And that whole sequence started on the right-hand side. Clayton Taylor didn't want to chase Hiroki Sakai. Look at this time to turn now. Again, the canary in the coal mine has run out of voice at this point, because the Jets have been warned and they didn't heed that warning. And they just dropped off. Their intensity dropped off. Auckland's picked up, which gives us the scoreline at half-time of 1-1.
And you just wonder, second half, that intensity that Newcastle brought the first 20 minutes, can they bring it in the second half? How long can they bring it for against Auckland FC?
Well, Benny, the only indication for that is the league table. And Auckland have shown this season that they can access those reserves more consistently than the Jets. And the Jets have had this winning run recently, built on similar circumstances, similar attributes. Can they maintain that in the second half? Well, Eli Adams, with that belting goal, will be have a large part of the answer for that. He's faded like some of his teammates in the back half of the first stanza. And if the Jets can re-energise at half-time and get their mind and focus back on winning possession and playing off that counter-attack and winning the second balls, then with the space that provides, Eli Adams is as likely as anyone in this vein of form to seal the deal. But they've got a significant hurdle in achieving that, and that's the league leaders at the moment, Auckland.
Well, this has been the Hungry Jacks halftime show, an intriguing final 45 minutes coming up right after the break. But do not forget, next weekend on Network 10, it is the first race of the season in Formula One in Melbourne.
F1 is back for 2025, and it's bigger and better than ever.
Can't you believe what we're seeing?
Max and Lando renewed their red-hot rivalry.
Oh, they made contact!
The King is sporting new colours, and our local hero returns home triumphant.
Oscar Piastri wins!
We've got it all right here as the season starts at Albert Park.
It's game on!
It's the Formula One Louis Vuitton Australian Grand Prix, live on 10.
Welcome back to McDonald Jones Stadium, where it is the final match of round 22 of the Isuzu UTE League. Eli Adams' goal put Newcastle ahead in the opening 15 minutes, but it was cancelled out by Jesse Randall's header 8 minutes from half-time, and that is where we sit. We've got a couple of changes, though, on the way for Auckland FC. Marley Francois is coming on, the Sydney's junior, played his junior football at the Camden Tigers. He's going to be joined out there by Louis Verstrata, who, as we mentioned in the first half, it's been one of Auckland's best this season, but he was ruled out a couple of weeks ago for yellow card accumulation, and he's been sitting on the bench since. He will be coming on in this second half. It's Jake Brimmer, who's the man withdrawn for Verstrata. And Nader Moreno, he is replaced by Marley Francois. And he's a big unit, isn't he? Verstrata, very strong in midfield. Just adding to the physical presence of this Auckland FC side. So back underway in the second half. Auckland looking to move further ahead in the race for the premiership. The Jets, that 4th consecutive win, sits before them for the first time in 17 years, Andy Harper. This is going to be intriguing stuff.
Well, they're still in it, the Jets, aren't they? Really, they've got themselves into this position. A good run of form.
Wilmering's header away. Goes back into the path of Randall via Sakai. Rose throws an arm about.
Yeah, good run of form, good run of results, and some very good stuff in that first half against the toughest team in the comp. It shouldn't be understated. But there's 45 minutes to go to keep their season alive. The Jets, and to extend that winning streak.
Adams in behind. Lockie Rose didn't get the touch to knock it around Alex Paulson. And now turning into trouble is Pinecker. Still the danger not gone. Eli Adams, the back heel, picked off by Verstrata. Now it is Bayliss driving. Paulson somehow has pushed it around the post. Miraculous goalkeeping.
Well, it was deja vu all over again. The start of the first half. It's a lovely ball through from Eli Adams. And Auckland just not switched on. I don't know what was going through old mate's mind there. Not much. And very clear what was in Bayliss's mind. Good save from Paulson. Very, very fortunate for Auckland.
So Mizanuma's corner almost curled its way in. It was Paulson pouncing on it. But this has been a promising start from the home side of this second half.
Pinecker has been, really outstanding for Auckland this year. Mince your words, he has been fabulous. But today, conceded the penalty with a moment with a brain fog, and then I don't know what he was thinking there. Great chance for Newcastle to start the half the way they started the match.
Well, expecting him to be selected in Darren Baisley's all-white squad. I was having a chat to Jason Pine from Sky Sports before this match, and he's expecting 5 of these Auckland players to be named in that all-whites team. The World Cup qualifier against Fiji. Bayliss away, Francois! And Noah James is forced into some action.
Well, one good chance each, and we're only now 3 minutes into the restart. Bayliss having tested up the other end with a really good shot, nearly put one on in return. Forcing a good save from Noah James.
Sakai the long throw. Strata's touch was pounced on by Eli Adams, and then a shot which didn't really have the power or direction from Pinecker. So those players expected in the all-white squad: Paulson, Pinecker, De Vries, Rogerson and Tommy Smith. So that is a one-off World Cup qualifier against Fiji. They have to win that to make it through to the final. And if they won that, they'd play the winner of New Caledonia and Tahiti for a spot at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. They lose that match against Fiji and it's all over. High stakes, high stakes. That one will be played in New Zealand, both of those semi-finals and then the final.
Yeah, the OFC's decision to make those one-off games rather than home and away is really interesting.
Randall. Francois has been heavily involved since coming on at half-time. Player has been with Bristol City the last couple of years. Didn't play in the championship, but made a couple of FA Cup appearances for them. 7th appearance in the A-League off the bench. And that is poor from Timmins. He's gifted back possession to Logan Rogerson. But Aquilina, excellent in the first half. Beginning the second in a similar vein. And allows Newcastle this opportunity via Lockie Rose. He goes himself. And Paulson able to protect that far post.
Perhaps telegraphed it a little bit as soon as he starts cutting inside. And given the run just in front, you see cutting across him there, Clayton Taylor. Given the supporting run that Clayton Taylor opted for, really forced the hand of Lockie Rose. Easy for Alex Paulson to clean up in the end.
Rose through the legs of Smith. He is asking for the whistle. Not forthcoming from Nathan Shakespeare. Newcastle back in action against Melbourne City on Wednesday night. 6:55 p.m. that one live on Paramount Plus. Kickoff at 7. And then on Thursday, Sydney FC taking on John Book in the AFC Champions League 2 with a 2-0 advantage from the first leg in Korea. And that will be live on 10 Play. You do not want to miss what will be a huge night for the Sky Blues. That is a huge result. 2-0 against John Book, one of the biggest clubs in Asia.
Yeah, fantastic from Sydney. They've got their opportunities now in their own hands. As do the Jets on this breakthrough.
Clayton Taylor one-on-one here with Smith, sending him left and right. Smith did well enough. There will be a corner, but the flag comes up anyway. And just gives us a chance, Harps, to mention that result in the other match. So the winner of Sydney and John Book will play the winner of Lion City Sailors and Sam French Hiroshima. Now, Hiroshima won the first leg 6-1, but they played Valère-Germain, who was suspended because he had that little altercation at the end of the clash against the Mariners, you might remember last year with Harry Steele. I think the slap and whatever happened there. Well, they played him. He was ineligible. And now Lion City Sailors have been handed a 3-0 win. They'll go back to Singapore on the 12th of March. They've got a 3-0 lead to sandbag.
And Valère-Germain scored off the bench in the 6-1 rout. I mean, it's staggering. And of a Japanese club, of all. Some of the other clubs in Asia not as well resourced or well managed. Hugely embarrassing financially. A problem. Not to mention turning around a 3-goal deficit, which is certainly well within them.
Sometimes you just can't make it up. Aquilina down towards the corner. Did look a little heavy, and it was right in front of the Jets' active support.
Last one on this, with that Valère-Germain ineligibility, you would have thought, and I reckon most fans watching and listening would have thought that an alert pops up somewhere on the database when player A moves to club B. It's really staggering. Very embarrassing for all concerned, I'd suggest, including the AFC.
Well, I thought Valère, as a player, would remember his last AFC Champions League match as well. Failing no one picking it up, I thought he may remember that incident because it was a fair altercation. There's the reminder, 10 Play, 7 p.m. Thursday night, Sydney FC and John Book in the quarterfinals, AFC Champions League 2.
Well, hopefully there'll be a good crowd turning up to watch Sydney defend that lead. Great for the A-League to have another one of its clubs succeed in Asia.
Rose gets clipped here. Heineke, this is a good area for the home team. no surprises there. Auckland leading the foul count in this match. Staring down the barrel of Eli Adams and Costa Grozos. But you would expect Adams to take this. We've seen what he can do with his left foot already. Different angle. That was from the left edge. This time probably on the preferred side for the curler. Curl he does. And it dropped rather rapidly at the near post, but Paulson was comfortable in the end.
Really a threat for Paulson there. But worth an effort from Eli Adams, there's no question.
It's a second half which has been most even, and you just sense hangs in the balance, this contest. Who is going to stand up over this next little period of the game? Can they find a goal to get their side in front? Jermo Mai looking to feed Rogerson, whose touch took it over the sideline. Step overs from Francois. He's been lively. Now Gallegos. And it's Natta. Sakai insured. Spills there for Pinecker. Great industry from Aquilina, but it's back out through Pinecker. Gallegos finding Mai. This time it's the Jets captain involved. Wilmering for Taylor. And the touch just wasn't enough to cushion it into his path. Rogerson. It's a little bit of space to work in.
Well, Auckland certainly got the Jets pinned back at the moment. Home team's best way out of this, apparently in the short term at least, is a counter-attack if they can dispossess and find Auckland off balance. But they're looking pretty well organised, the Black Knights, at the moment.
You just wonder as well at what point Francois, he's again curling, and again it's Noah James who is pushing it around that far post. So Francois is looking so dangerous cutting onto that right boot.
Well, again, the Jets look good when they defend on the front foot. When they defend and whilst they're backpedaling, they look very vulnerable. Francois, good effort, awkward bounce. It's really good work from Noah James.
You just sense they're stalking the Jets here, Auckland. Just waiting for a chink in the armour to put themselves ahead 2-1. Is this the moment here from the set piece? James being crowded out here. Look at the tall timber. Smith right up against the Jets keeper. Well, it probably wasn't as pinpoint as they would have liked. Long throw specialist Francis de Vries is coming over to take this. and a wind-up. Almost brings a result. Well, it very, very nearly drops in there for Guillermo Mai. The long throw causing headaches for opposition sides again.
Oh, De Vries, a little bit of wind behind him. Nor'easter blowing in. And Guillermo Mai on the turn. Unlikely opportunity, but it was a close one.
So Korta Mizunuma didn't really get into the game too much today. He's replaced by Dane Ingham, who is playing his first football since December 7 after he tore a pec. Don't hear that too often in football, that kind of injury.
We've had two this season. Trent Sainsbury had the same injury.
So good to see Dane back. Also an all-whites representative. And Rogerson just couldn't get the direction on the cross. He actually played alongside Logan Rogerson, did Dane Ingham, and Michael Vau, the backup goalkeeper for Auckland FC. The New Zealand's underage side, the under-20s, in that 2017 World Cup in South Korea. So coming up against some familiar faces, Dane Ingham this afternoon. It was a question I was going to pose, Harps, before that Auckland chance is, when does Rob Stanton think about changes, and potentially more because of the busy week ahead?
Well, Mizunuma, of course, has been dynamic off the bench. Sort of struggled to have an impact from the start here today. So it's an opportunity to get some very important game minutes into Dane Ingham. Probably unaware that Eli Adams was making an effort to get to that ball, so foul as it was, probably an accidental one. The bigger question for Newcastle, as at least as big a question as the personnel one, Robbie, then is when do they start chancing their arm in an attacking sense?
Maybe something forthcoming here. Taylor is going to earn a corner.
It's the first time for a while they've played through the lines. Most of their attacking efforts so far have been in transition, which is fair enough. But as Auckland gets set, Newcastle, as time ticks away, still plenty of it, but they do need to win this, the Jets.
Such was their slow start to the season. If Newcastle do want to push for the 6, they have to keep going up in 3s. And they got 3 huge matches this week. It is basically going to define whether they can make the finals. Significant set piece here for Grozos. And it's delivered deep towards Rose. Very nearly a chance for Mark Natter.
Well, Lockie Rose does well. He read the breeze better than Hiroki Sakai.
Rob Stanton not signed beyond this season by Newcastle. Resources and financial support for the first team potentially the problem. So a lot to sort out for Newcastle between now and the end of the season, especially after the terrific work he's done over the last season and a half. Poking it through to Rose. Held it up enough for Timmins to rush through. Heineke finds safety for the moment in the sideline. Timmins. Wilmering. And Clayton Taylor turning out, curling, Adams. Oh, it got really awkward for Paulson. That did not look like it was going to drop almost into the goal.
And a dangerous lack of intensity from Auckland defensively here. Tommy Smith maybe finding the humidity, 75% humidity, mid-20s. It's taxing and way too much time for Clayton Taylor to turn there.
So the live ladder puts Auckland 6 points clear with a game in hand on Western United.
And the interest for Newcastle, they win tonight, which they must, win on Wednesday, which they must. 6 points puts them one behind Sydney and still 4 points out of 6. And they don't get to overhaul Sydney and the Wanderers directly till round 24-25. They play both teams consecutively. Of course, the table will take on all sorts of complexions by then. But the Jets are in the situation now where they have to overhaul, obviously, the teams in front of them. And the two most approximate rather, Sydney and the Wanderers. They don't get to actually knock them off their perch until the second and third last weeks of the league. Must win tonight, Newcastle. Must win midweek against City.
See those next two games for Newcastle coming up this week, and then they've got a 2-week break before they play MacArthur. Moses' pass left short and the angle didn't favour Dane Ingham. Now, just important to note as well there, Heineke going into the book for a yellow card. He will miss the next match for Auckland. There's Francois driving in the cross, and that is because of his 5th yellow card before their 20th match of the season. This is hung up and the header over the bar. And Auckland are going to make another couple of changes. So Callan Elliott is going to come on for Felipe Gallegos. And Howison for Randall, it would seem here. So confirmation there. Elliott on for Gallegos, and Randall the goal scorer for Auckland. 2 goals in his last 3. For the 22-year-old, feasting off the back of this delivery from Sakai.
Well, excellent work from Randall. Disallowed goal as well, and he's given his team a chance for the 3 points which Auckland need. I mean, they are clear at the top, but the gap is narrowing. And Auckland to win the league the first time of trying. Well, as the table currently stands, they get 3 teams below them on the run in, but they have to play the Wanderers, Sydney, Melbourne Victory and Western United, all in the running. There's nothing for nothing in this league. Auckland will have to fight hard to maintain the rage. Great start by them. And as the finish line approaches from a league sense, they've got a couple of nasty hurdles with some water traps in there.
Sydney away, Victory away. Brisbane have been improving as well with some new recruits. They've been hard to beat. And Western Sydney as well, luring along. So very big finish to the season in the Isuzu UTE League. 26 matches in the regular season this year, so Auckland 8 to go, 7 after this. Newcastle with 8 remaining after this one. Oh, that is a problematic pass for the Jets. Guillermo Mai shifting it onto the left boot. Francois has been so damaging. Howison cross into the leg of Aquilina, and Newcastle clearing it away. These substitutions making a great impact for Auckland, I should say. As DeVries.
Be careful, Benny, you'll be cancelled.
I think I already am after that. Mombwa. And Wilmering. Well, it's been a rough period for the Knicks, but I can tell you their A-League women's side had a win today, Harps, a 2-1 over Western Sydney to keep their finals hopes alive. Auckland will have a team in that competition very soon. Jets fans wanting further punishment. You happy with no card there, Harps?
Yeah. If there wasn't another Auckland defender. I do normally lead the charge for players yanking at shirts when someone's away. That was a minor end of the spectrum, as far as I'm concerned, certainly with cover. But here's a little bit of a blow-up. Referee Shakespeare keeping his own counsel.
So it's Vistrata that goes into the book. His eyes were shifting between both players. I'm thinking, which way is he going here? Now, Crowder up in arms here. It is high on the leg.
Very high.
Does Louis have further problems here?
He well may do. Now, does it deflect off the ball? Does his left leg defend off Wambwa's leg? Or is it perched high and cocked?
I can tell you the VAR are recommending an on-field review, and the VAR, Auckland fans won't want to hear this after last week, is Daniel Elder, who gave those 2 penalties against them late on. They were absolutely ropeable. Well, he's in the VAR. He's called over Nathan Shakespeare.
It's a hard one. I mean, the contact looks nasty. But how unnatural is him swinging at that ball, winning the ball? I think he's going to be in trouble here. It doesn't matter how you cut it. But I've got a little bit of sympathy for him. And certainly for Charles Wamba as well. I mean, that doesn't tickle. Firstly, to the player on the receiving end. That's ouch. Definite ouch factor.
Important to note as well, Harps, that Newcastle have played against 10 men twice at home. Ben Falami was sent off playing for Adelaide earlier in the season, and Jimmy Jeggo for Melbourne City, and they struggled immensely to break down a packed defence of 10 men. So maybe something that has been challenging for Newcastle.
Yeah, I think it's the point of contact that's going to cook him. Above the ankle, blah, blah, blah.
After on-field review, number 6 commits an act of serious foul play. The yellow card is cancelled. Decision is red card.
So Louis Vistrata is sent off. Auckland down to 10 for the final 15 and a bit minutes. And look at Lockie Rose. He's trying to rile up his side here to finish with a flurry. The Belgian midfielder shakes his head and he walks down the tunnel.
Well, he's had to wait a long time to get back into the team, as it was. He's come off the bench today. And really, referee Shakespeare had no alternative. Once you see the force of the contact and where the contact was made. As accidental as it may have been.
Well, no easy task up against the best defence in the league, and also one which is fully focused here on sandbagging and striking on the break. And Guillermo Mai is so dangerous generally, but in these kind of situations, backs against the wall. This is a big moment for Auckland FC in their early history. They produce a stirring fight back down a man. Remembering they have not come from behind to win. Rogerson. And Elliott. Beats Timmins, cuts it back. Natter on the stretch. And now Howison. It was swerving, and Noah James did not want to take any chances.
And does he sort of offer an apology for his team for not actually catching that ball? He swatted it away effectively. The Jets couldn't clear their lines. Had a bit of swirl. Don't know that. He's gone safety first anyway. Fair play to him. He's got the decision to make. It looked to me as though he was hands up and offering some sort of apology, because the Jets have another situation to defend now.
Well, this will be intriguing. James is punching. Eli Adams didn't get it on the first attempt. Now it's Mombwa trying to scrap for it. So the team down to 10 men, applying all the pressure at the moment. De Vries's delivery.
Really outside of the consideration of having a player less, in the last 15 minutes of games, Auckland have scored 13. The Jets have scored 5. Jets have a man advantage, and they need to do something about that stat here and now.
Can I raise your goals after the 90th minute this season? Thanks to Jacob Spoonley, who I mentioned it on the call last week. 7 they've got, in addition to the one they scored last week. 7 in the 90-plus portion of the match this season, Auckland FC. So...
But I do just wonder at what point.
Chance potentially brewing. Francois. Auckland will ask the question. Aquilina looked to have done well enough, but even he looked a little concerned there for a moment.
I mean, this has been the theme for him today. Making up ground, running down Auckland players and saving the Jets. Potentially a more difficult situation. His starting position was a little problematic, and therefore he needed to make things up, which he did then and he's done this afternoon.
Another corner for the Black Knights, swept away by Eli Adams. There's a change here for Auckland, so Lewis Toomey, the Hawke's Bay product out of Napier, beautiful part of New Zealand. He comes on for Logan Rogerson. So Toomey's 6th appearance off the bench this season, picked up by Steve Corica from Eastern Suburbs, but also spent some time playing in the Finnish lower leagues in his time. And the Wellington Academy. And here are changes for Newcastle. So Wellersol, the Brazilian, he hasn't got much change out of opposition defences this season, the Brazilian. He will come on. Vidic as well. Played a key role in the Australia Cup for the Jets, but not so in the A-League. And Shushnia back for the first time since December 28. There's the final one I mentioned, Wellersong. So a long throw on its way. And the strike on the volley. Well, he had to be sharp, Noah James. Really came out of nothing there for Auckland. Toomey hangs this up. This is dangerous. And it is a handball against Tommy Smith. Another warning shot there for Newcastle.
Well, didn't deal with it all at the back post. Forget the fact, Tommy Smith's given it up as well. But it goes in off his arm, clearly. Didn't deal with it. The Jets, now the question for them with fresh troops, as we've turned for home, 10 minutes. 1 point not enough for Newcastle, really, to get the 3. Now, how hard will they press? How hard will they push? Or will they just try to be patient and hope that an opening comes? Well, they've got the extra player. I think the onus is on the Jets at home. Get their crowd behind them. Get numbers up the field. Move the ball quickly. And particularly when Auckland have the ball. Go man for man. You've still got the option of the spare player. And just don't let Auckland settle on the ball. That was the formula that got them the lead in the first place. And now as they desperately chase a winner, let's look at the reaction now from the Jets players. Are they looking to swarm the Auckland players or let them run through?
And Francois dodging and weaving. Noah James comes through. The intensity is coming from the Black Knights. Newcastle almost on tilt, you would say, at the moment. Vidic in an arm wrestle with Pinecker. Howison calmly finding the captain Sakai. Here is Elliott. It's desperation stakes here. Newcastle really need to win. Trying to keep their top 6 hopes alive. Now it is mine. And in the end it rolled rather harmlessly into the grasp of Noah James. Newcastle are urged forward here.
Well, that's what their fans want. I don't want to die wondering, the Newcastle fans. No fan group would, but certainly they know what they like, Newcastle. They know their football. And it's the job of the players on the field to deliver it for the fans.
Especially with 2 of their spark plugs off the field in Rose and Mizunuma. They have ignited Newcastle at the back end of this season. So what can they do without them on the field? Mombu's been critical off the bench. Can Wellersong deliver in Newcastle colours? This is a whistle for Auckland FC. A little bit of finger pointing between Toomey and Mombu, but nothing more.
Well, Toomey diffused that nicely, actually. Not only helping himself with the free kick, but diffusing that really well for a youngster. You know, Auckland cool heads need to prevail. They don't want to provide any particular spark for the Jets, and a little set 2 there, as we've seen it on plenty of occasions, can really energise teams. And the Jets need to be energised. Clock's ticking.
Tommy Smith and Shushnia sliding through. Yes, that graphic is correct. Auckland are the team down to 10 men. It may be hard to work that out the way they're playing. De Vries picked off by Ingham. This should be a goal kick and will be. They're looking laboured in possession and tied, the Jets, at the moment. A man that can potentially change that, linking with Natta. Good turn of speed here from Mark Natta. Now Wilmering.
That's a good shift. Nice work. Elliott very intent on nullifying that opportunity. And Auckland will go again. 10 men against 11.
Final 5 of regulation time here. Aquilina.
And Alex Paulson's goal hasn't really been threatened for quite some time.
Dane Ingham going into the book. So 6 points clear at the moment, Auckland, with the 1-1 draw. Newcastle would go to 22. They'd still be 9 points outside the top 6. With a game in hand Wednesday night against Melbourne City down at Amy Park. They need to win that one. They need to win this one as well against the 10 men of Auckland. Trying to close this out. Rolls fortuitously to Ingham. A delivery off the head of Sakai. Adams takes on De Vries. And there's no whistle, just not strong enough according to Nathan Shakespeare. Eli Adams in that duel with De Vries. Happy with that as well. Play moves with Mombwa. Wellesock sends it back to where it came from and allows Ingham the chance to deliver. Spills for Mombwa. Rozos and Ingham. This time the left boot, and the deflection sits for Mai, but Mombwa was quick, and Mombwa got into good body position, wins it back for the Jets. Advantage played by the referee. Mombwa. Wellesock, a couple of Auckland players across. Mombwa is measuring towards Vidic, but there was a little tug there. And high fives all around from the Auckland defence.
It's taken them quite a while to get the ball into the penalty area, but they did finally, eventually. Tells a bit of a story, both the goalkeepers topping the rankings on the Paramount Plus player index. There have been good opportunities for both teams to score, and both goalkeepers have been in good form today. Noah James, perhaps on the Auckland goal, might be a little disappointed. Paulson, of course, with that moment which turned the game, the save of the Costa Grossos penalty.
Wellesock rode a couple of challenges. And he find a teammate. Well, he just dwelled on possession far too long and then gives away the free kick. He just hasn't quite found his feet in the A-League.
Well, he had the opportunity to spread that ball wide. It's the lack of game time, perhaps. Just didn't execute the pass. Conceded the foul, which enables Auckland to just gather themselves. A minute plus stoppages.
And we're told there's going to be 5 additional minutes at this point. Kings of the late show, Auckland, 7 goals post the 90th minute this season. They're just seconds away. What a moment this would be for them if they can pull 3 points out of the fire with 10 men. First time they would have come from behind to win the points in their short history. the timid end to a potential opportunity. So Tim Danaskis with the board. We have got 5 minutes confirmed of additional time as the Jets are spurred on again here. No time like the present to keep their finals hopes flickering. Remembering a win here would cement 4 consecutive wins in the A-League for the first time in 17 years. So there's some history on the line for Newcastle. Only 4.5 minutes to try and pull a goal out of somewhere.
Yeah, well, you don't want to sound like a dinosaur, but I'm about to. The Jets have shown very little propensity to actually play through Auckland this evening. All their good work has been on the high press, playing off the second balls that they've won and opening up the field. Imagining now in the last couple of minutes, Auckland with the bit between their teeth, that you're going to start being able to play through them now. They need numbers in the box. They've got to put the back line under pressure. They've got to win a challenge or two, pick up one of those second balls to give themselves any chance.
Grozos feeding Wilmering. And Wilmering searching for Vidic, and Auckland will just allow this ball to trickle over the byline.
That's a case in point. Justin Vidic just holding the line up front by himself. Just need more numbers. Time's ticking away, and the season with it.
It's a terrific turnout from the active support here in Newcastle.
Things look so good for them after 15 minutes. That fabulous goal from Eli Adams, 1-0, a penalty to hopefully make it 2-0. They've kept chanting and singing and cheering and urging.
Mai takes it off the toes of Adams. Francois has a very small portion to work with. He wanted a free kick. And now Shushnia, he won't back away from a bit of verbal. You'd expect he'll have a key role to play on Wednesday night. Alex Shushnia potentially. The short turnaround. You'd almost consider throwing him up top, wouldn't you, Harps, at this point?
I was a bit worried about sounding like a dinosaur. Thanks for joining the party. I mean, they haven't utilised the extra player at all. They haven't pressed with particular energy. It's a wonderful opportunity that came their way through unfortunate circumstances from an Auckland viewpoint, but they've been untroubled Auckland since.
Momboa and Wilmering. Well, you can notice that lack of dynamism with Taylor, Rose and Mizunuma off the field. Let's see why they've been so successful with those three in concert. But Rob Stanton certainly couldn't play them for the full 90 because he knows they have got 2 important matches off the back of this. Wednesday against City, next Sunday against Western United here in Newcastle. Time ticking through the hourglass here for the Jets. Free kick. Maybe the last kick of the game.
Yeah, well, a foul from Toomey. Well picked up by the ref. Shakespeare's been excellent this afternoon. Now, can Robbie Stanton and one of Robbie Stanton's men find something excellent from here?
Well, this is a moment where your name goes up in lights. Goes down in folklore. The last kick of the game. Finals hopes on the line. Newcastle need this moment. It's the captain Grozos standing over it with Eli Adams. It's a huge moment in a season, a huge moment in someone's career if you can deliver on this stage with all the pressure at your feet. It's Grozos who takes, and it just didn't drop enough for the captain.
Well, off the boot, for a brief moment, this looked like a redemptive moment for the Jet skipper. Nice contact. From the penalty spot, he couldn't beat Paulson. And from the free kick, he can't navigate the distance. Auckland should be safe from here.
So it ends deadlocked. A draw at McDonald Jones Stadium. Newcastle miss out on that elusive 4th consecutive win. But they do take a point from the league leaders. While for Auckland, undefeated in 8 matches. That is a new club record now for the Black Knights. 6 points clear at the top of the Isuzu UTE League ladder. Newcastle 9 points adrift from the top 6, but they do have matches in hand. Steve Corica, as he speaks to the referees. It finishes here at McDonald Jones Stadium. Newcastle Jets 1, Auckland FC 1. Costa Grozos, you just wonder what is going through his mind. Had that penalty saved by Alex Paulson in the first half, and then that free kick denied in the final